Hi, friends. Welcome to week 4. Thank you for joining me today and for watching this replay. It's hard to believe we are at the halfway mark with our Win from Within weight loss program. I am so proud of all the hard work that you guys have put forth, and I'm so excited to celebrate with you as you are starting to experience the success of your efforts. Please know that as you're celebrating, I'm celebrating with you. This has been such a powerful journey so far, and I'm really excited to see where the next 4 weeks are going to take us. So with this being said, I want to get started. And if you have questions that come from the material that I share today, please jot them down, put them into an email, and know that I will be checking my emails and my phone as soon as I am back in town. I hope that you had a wonderful Easter weekend and that you were surrounded with lots of friends and family and an abundance of love and happiness. Okay, I am going to share my screen. One moment. All right, here we go. Thank you for your patience. Okay, friends, let's get into this. I want to start by doing a recap of week 3. Again, I'm going to ask that you please be consistent in submitting those Google Forms. I really do look to that printout to support me in knowing where you're at in the process, if you're experiencing any challenges with the concepts, and how I best can be of support to you in moving forward. So those Google Forms take care of a lot of that housekeeping that I need in place for each of you so that we can show up together during our one-on-one appointments, and I can be right there to support you and we can press forward. Last week, we spoke to the concept of no sugar, no flour. I invited you to embrace this practice. We talked about some of the discomforts that you would experience with that and that this is a new practice. Please continue to sit in this space and empower yourself with the material that I've provided for you and some of those strategies for success that were also provided in the week 3 paperwork. We are working on managing our urges, and this goes hand in hand with the no sugar, no flour. Know that a little bit further into this presentation, I'm going to highlight a worksheet that I have provided. It is included in the week 4 documents that you will be printing. So I gave you the reading material in week 3 about processing urges, strategies for success with those urges, and I'm going to continue to support you in that space by providing you with a worksheet that allows you to kind of be a little more introspective and understand how you are managing your urges. Continue with this purposeful thought download. It is so powerful, friends. I shared this concept with another friend of mine that's also a coach. She's a weight loss coach as well, and she was just like completely blown away. She was like, this is brilliant. I've never seen the thought download or the model, the future focused model, used in this way. She was so excited to learn about this customization on these tools and to take them back with her so she could provide them to her clients as well. I'm telling you, this was my secret sauce to success, and I'm providing you with the very best content, the very best tools, and the very best strategies that I am capable of supporting you with. I promise there is power in these tools if you will use them and use them consistently. Okay, that being said, we want to continue to work with our calendar. We want to be very diligent in logging our daily weight and using that stair-step approach with progress that we spoke to last week. So if you're having questions on that, read the material again, watch the class 3 lecture, and look at my numbers that are on the hard copy of the calendar that I emailed you. If you spend 5 minutes looking at the numbers and seeing how I mapped my progress in August of last year, it's going to make perfect sense. And it's very, very powerful as well. Putting those 3 elements together is just like supercharged techniques that are going to really add fire to your efforts. I promise. It's so exciting. And pretty soon you're going to start to see it also impacting other areas of your life when you choose to use those tools to improve your relationships, to improve your work environment, to improve your time management. There's a lot of power behind those techniques that I've shared. As a reminder, we're going to be having class on the 29th, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time. This will be the time that we will honor moving forward through the rest of our program. And then I want to invite you to use this next week as an opportunity to catch your breath. I know we've gone through a lot of material and we have a lot of content available, and I don't want this to be overwhelming at any point in time. Use this next week as an opportunity to read through that material and revisit any videos or classes that you've missed, and allow yourself to come back into a place of feeling like everything is under control, because it is. You've got this, and we've got this together. Okay, now, when I went to coach training, this is a picture of my graduating class from last year when I was over at coach training with my life coach and my mentor. I had this beautiful epiphany, and it was all about maximizing my potential and really stepping into the best version of myself. And I was speaking with a friend, and as we were speaking and brainstorming the beautiful experience that coaching brings into our lives, we came up with this little slogan that said, "Your future self called and said, thank you for creating the life that you love." And so it is kind of by this mantra that I live by when I think about coaching. I think about all the beautiful ways that I am serving my future self, not only in this weight loss capacity of my life, but also within my relationships with my loved ones and my friends, and specifically with myself. When I decided to focus in on weight loss and make this the focus of my coaching experience, I had a couple of takeaways that I want to share with you and make sure that you feel really clean and clear about. My first goal is always to empower women to show up for themselves in the best way possible. And by recommitting to your weight loss success, you're creating true results. It's important that we're doing this from a space of love and compassion and positive support for ourselves. And really, the deeper work in recommitting to our weight loss is recommitting to ourselves and recommitting to that sense of worth, of importance, of confidence, and knowing that we matter. The weight loss is a beautiful byproduct of this work, but the greater gift that we give ourselves is the feelings that come from honoring our word, from knowing that we're capable of doing hard things, and putting ourselves back on that list as a priority. And so that is really the gift that I want to give to you as a weight loss client and as a coaching client. Know that I am always here to meet you exactly where you are. I'm going to support you through your wins, and I'm going to support you through your obstacles. And we're going to dig deep, and we're going to find out what's really fueling you and supporting you in the space that you want to be in and where you're at and how you want to move forward. Okay. So that being said, we've had a lot of aha moments when it's come to our one-on-one coaching, and I just couldn't be more thrilled. Many of you are sharing new practices that you're embracing. You're sharing with me new mindset strategies that you're embracing, and you are having success. This is so exciting, and I want to invite you to please consider sending me an email so that I can spotlight and recognize and acknowledge you at this point in your journey. I do a weekly email to my email group where I focus in on empowering tools, empowering strategies, and I want to be able to also share empowering success stories. Please give this consideration. We are at the halfway mark. It's so exciting, and you guys have achieved a great deal. So if you're willing to share a few sentences with me, and with your permission, I would love to take that information, put it into an email in the next week or two, and let that be a source of motivation for other people who are looking to get recommitted to their health and also recommitted to themselves within having some of these beautiful positive byproducts that you're experiencing right now. All right. So friends, what does winning look like? We've spoken to this a couple of times, and what winning really does look like is it comes from staying in the game as long as it takes. Sorry about tripping over my words there. We really want to exercise consistency. We want to exercise diligent efforts. And when we have a setback and we're off plan for a day, it's not the end of the game. we still come back into the game with a renewed spirit, renewed commitment, a renewed effort. Okay? We're always learning from our experiences. And I have told you this before, the only time that we're truly failing is when we throw in the towel altogether and we give up 100%. Otherwise, we're always learning and succeeding and moving forward. So please stay committed to your progress. Please stay committed to yourself because you're worth the work. Now, embracing these practices, interestingly enough, many of you have shared with me that you feel like you're embracing a new lifestyle. And that is the case. You are embracing a new lifestyle. This is not a fad diet. These are not strategies and techniques that I'm introducing for you to simply practice for a few weeks and then part ways with. The practice of no sugar, no flour, the practice of making a protocol, the practice of honoring your eating windows and eating on plan. These are lifestyle changes that you can completely support for long-term success. And these are healthy, positive lifestyle changes that really help you to show up in the best way possible that you want to do so for yourself, not only in your health, but your relationships and in embracing other goals you want to move forward with. So this is a permanent change. This isn't a fad diet. These aren't temporary practices. And I hope that you are feeling this way about the material that I'm sharing and the techniques that I'm sharing with you as well. Okay. Again, our success comes from the small and deliberate choices that we make. Losing weight is not hard. Many of you have shared with me that the techniques I'm sharing with you and the practices that you're recommitting to are familiar. Of course, they're familiar. We've practiced this many, many times as grown adults. We've made small decisions before in our past that have created success. And it's a matter of linking these small decisions together to create a real cumulative effect that will support us in our lifestyle, in our long-term success. I want you to be honoring your commitments. I want you to be making your decisions ahead of time to ensure that you will have success. I want you to be meeting yourself from a place of compassion, curiosity, love, and honor. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, the beautiful result and the bigger gift that you're giving yourself is increased self-esteem, increased pride, increased feelings of self-worth, and increased confidence and capability. You get to know that you can do hard things and that you're capable of changing your behavior patterns and creating new results in your life. Okay, with this idea of embracing small changes and knowing that our decisions, our small decisions, create our outcome, I want to let you know that with every area of our life, the way that we choose to practice is the way that we show up and perform. Now, I have a 19-year-old daughter who is a very accomplished piano player, and she did not always love the practice that we would invite her to do. And sometimes she would meet it with resistance and fail. And other times she would be in the game and she would have her mindset in place and she would experience success. But it's the consistency of the practice that always yielded a beautiful performance. Now, my daughter has put in years and years of practice. She started playing the piano when she was 11 years old, and she just recently ended at 18. And many of my friends were surprised that she chose not to go to school and study music because she's such a beautiful pianist. This being said, all of this practice was not a waste. She was able to have wonderful, terrific experiences wherein she was capable of supporting really fantastic people in sharing their talents and their accomplishments as well because of all of this practice. And she performed beautifully. The gal on the left with that dark coat on, she's an opera singer over in Europe. Her name is Angela Brower. Her parents live in our area and they attend the same congregation that we go to Sunday services with. And Sydney was able to accompany her in a beautiful Christmas number when she was in town visiting her family. It was just a mile marker for Sydney, and I couldn't have been more pleased with her opportunity and her performance. Likewise, because of all the years of practice that she put in, she was able to do an hour-long performance, a senior recital, where she was able to perform some of her most favorite works that she's mastered through the years of her practice. I promise you, the way that we choose to practice with our eating habits, with our time management, with our food choices, in overcoming our urges, our practice will support and empower our performance. Thank you for indulging me for just a moment. All right, now all of these tools that we have presented so far, the food journaling, the food planning, the daily weight that I'm asking you to log, all of these are building upon one another, and they're coming together to form this really strong chain link, that is supporting you in your success. Each link couples with another link, and we're just really adding to our tool belt of tools and techniques and strategies that are creating a super, super strong link for you to lean on and utilize as you're moving forward. So each tool is super important, and I've introduced them in a slow and methodical and purposeful way, because we can't take the whole program in at once and anticipate having success. It's just too overwhelming. We need to have success one link at a time. And so that's what I've provided to you as I've introduced each tool, and I've asked you to practice each tool week by week. You're building the chain link of success. Now, this being said, there is a great deal of power to be had when you choose to implement the tools and you're using them consistently. In this picture, you can see that I'm standing with a dear friend of mine named Krista. Krista is an amazing runner. She's so committed to her running that she doesn't miss hardly a day at all unless she's really, really sick. She's very committed to her practice, and even more importantly, she's really committed to charting her progress. At the end of last year, Krista approached me and said, "Guess what? I have ran 1,000 miles this year." Now, I started running last year as well. And guess what? I wasn't charting any of my miles. I had no way of knowing where my success ranked on the scale of miles accomplished, because I hadn't been using the tools that were available to me to support this data point. Krista was able to feel super empowered and super proud of her accomplishment of having logged 1,000 miles, because she was consistent in her choices. She was consistent in recording her data. I had nothing to draw on. I just knew I had ran a lot and that I had increased my endurance and my distance. I couldn't be more proud and more excited for my friend Krista. Knowing that she'd accomplished 1,000 miles gave her a full picture of all of the work that she had done from January 1 to December the 31st. And it was very, very motivating. Friends, I don't want you to underestimate the power that is there in the purposeful logging of our foods, the purposeful planning of our foods, and the purposeful documenting of our daily weight, and also in doing our thought downloads and our models. I promise all of these things will come together to support you in a beautiful way. And pretty soon you're going to have this cumulative effect that you can look back on. You can have a history that you can look back on and feel so, so empowered from. Okay. All right. Now, as I've coached each of you this past week, we have taken the opportunity to speak to compelling reason and commitment. And I'm so glad that we've spent some time in this space. It's been really good for us to examine your compelling reason and to also take the opportunity to fine-tune and dial in that compelling reason. As you're marking your way on the calendar and you're setting that future goal 7 days out of where you would like to be within that 2, 3, and 4 pound range of moving forward, I also want you to be setting a positive reward. I want you to be creating a positive reward that you can utilize to create this positive reinforcement for all of the work that you are doing. Now, some of you have mentioned to me that you have an exciting vacation coming up in the summertime. And we spoke about this vacation, and we spoke about what you wanted to feel, what you wanted to experience, and how you wanted to show up for the vacation that would be occurring in July. And this is a really wonderful future event to look forward to. But quite frankly, it's just too far out in the future. You need short, sizable wins. You need immediate gratification when it comes to the reward side of all of your efforts. I'm encouraging all of you to find those little rewards, those compelling reasons that set you on fire and get you excited and increase your level of commitment to staying the course. Please take the opportunity to recognize yourself and reward yourself frequently. And when I say this, what I mean by this is by every 2 to 3 weeks. So as you're moving through the month, I want you to find something that feels really, really special, something that feels empowering. Maybe you super duper enjoy going for pedicures and you just don't spoil yourself that way. Set a date on the calendar and know that if you've followed your food journaling, if you've followed your thought downloads and your purposeful models, your future focused models, know that you're going to have a reward in store to look forward to, and then honor that reward. We want to have lots of wins on our side. By having these wins and having these opportunities to indulge in a reward, it's going to refuel your level of commitment and increase your opportunity of success. So find the thing that resonates for you. In class 3, I shared with you that I have a beautiful dress that really gets me excited. And I have this hanging on my towel rod. And by looking at this dress every day, it reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it gives me a short-term goal and a short-term reward to look forward to. Now, the moment that I wear that dress and I enjoy wearing that dress and I celebrate wearing that dress, I'm going to find a new compelling reason. Likewise, I want you to find a new compelling reason as well. So if you support yourself by going and having a pedicure and you enjoy that moment and you really absorb and let that moment serve you, take a deep breath, enjoy it for what it is, and then find something new that empowers you to continue moving forward. Oftentimes it can be that special article of clothing, or it can be an event. So if you know that you're going to have an end of the school year event, like maybe you're going to be recognized for volunteer work, or you're going to be celebrated at a banquet for having been on a committee of some type, use that as a mile marker to work toward, and let that sit there in your mind, let that sit there in your heart, and let that support you in the choices that you're making so you can experience some immediate reward. July is too far away. We need to feel the positive reinforcement quicker than that, okay? All right. Now, the powerful and the purposeful thought download, that partnered with our future focused model, partnered with our calendar, is going to create a really, really powerful impact as you're doing your stair-stepping of progress. Again, as I mentioned to you, I shared these tools, these 3 tools, with a coach friend of mine, and she was just amazed. She was like, this is so brilliant. Now, I don't think I'm super brilliant by any means. What I think is I've had a lot of experience at failing and succeeding. And what I finally have done is I've finally come into something that's working really, really well for me. Interestingly enough, one of our friends in our weight loss group has also felt the power of these 3 tools coming together to help her advance in her stair-stepping experience with progress. And she's done some coaching before, and she's very familiar with this work. But she also said to me, Samantha, I've never used the tools in this way, and I love them. I believe in them, and I can see the purpose and the power that sits in practicing these tools and these techniques this way. So if you have any questions with how the thought download works, the purposeful thought download, the future model, and the future focused calendaring goal, please go back into your week 3 paperwork and revisit that material. It's going to be a game changer, I promise. Okay, now, as I promised, I told you that I've provided you with an urge worksheet. I chose this picture on purpose because it kind of makes your heart pitter-patter just a little bit, right? Does it remind you of being younger and in love with your special someone? Does it kind of get you a little bit excited? It does, right? That's just the reality of being a human being and walking on the planet. Now, this being said, we have experience in practicing constraint. Just because we know kissing can be fun, and just because we know there are attractive human beings walking around in our space every single day, we aren't randomly walking up to these handsome and beautiful individuals and randomly kissing them. We're not. We know what constraint feels like, and we're capable of overcoming our urges. Likewise, when you're in a store and you try on a really beautiful, new, fragrant perfume that maybe has caught your eye and that you've been thinking about purchasing for some time, it doesn't mean you're going to steal the bottle of perfume. You know what constraint feels like. And so it is as we are moving forward with no sugar, no flour, and honoring our protocols. Just to remind you, the differences between the need and want, and in recognizing what an urge is and what an indulgence is, the difference is that when it comes to the needs and the wants, our needs start within our body, okay? And they signal our brain that we have a true physiological need that needs met, okay? This can be the low, steady grumbling of your stomach or the little pains that come when it's time for nourishment. This can be the yawning that can occur when we haven't had enough sleep. And this can be like when we stub our toe and we're experiencing pain. That's a need. We need to like take some action and take care of a stubbed toe or a cut finger and respond quickly and in a positive way. Our false pleasures always stem from our thoughts. Our false pleasures are triggered from thoughts that we're either not managing or feelings and emotions that we are not managing. And more often than not, they pretend to be urgent, and our brain wants to believe that there is a true need there. The way that we know the difference between these two is by pausing, taking a moment to reflect, and asking ourselves, is this a true need or is this a want? And so as we approach the weekend, as we approach the holiday dinner, ask yourself, do I need to eat more than what I've already eaten? Or do I want to eat more than what I've already eaten? And allow yourself to get in alignment with that hunger cue. Allow yourself to get in alignment with that hunger scale. And let those needs and wants help you fine-tune your choices. Okay. Now, in anticipation of the weekend and in anticipation of Easter dinner, which most of you will come together and celebrate with family and friends, we coached on what I call the joy eat and the exception. I've also provided you with a worksheet that helps you to understand how to handle the joy eat and plan for the exception. Certainly in life, we want to take the opportunity to enjoy special moments. We want to be able to have a dessert because it's somebody's birthday. We want to be able to have some dinner rolls because our mom is an excellent bread maker and she has brought dinner rolls to the Easter dinner. The way we need to handle our joy eat and our exception is to plan 24 hours in advance. I've given you some examples of how to handle this, how to use the questions and the planning tool to support yourself in having a successful joy eat and a successful exception. First and foremost, plan 24 hours in advance. Determine exactly what you're going to eat, know how much you're going to consume of this particular food, and allow yourself to enjoy it. I want you to have a moment this weekend or down the road into the near future where you can honor a joy eat and you can do it within the boundaries that feel safe and constrained and acceptable. When you're done, you're done. When you've enjoyed that dessert, when you've enjoyed that pasta dinner, when you've enjoyed those rolls, then be done and honor the fact that, you know what, this is where you decided you were going to end the joy eat and you were going to come back into more purposeful and more high quality and fuel eating as planned. Okay? We don't want to allow ourselves to get on that slippery slope and start to experience the fog eating, the storm eating, or the emotions and feelings of defeat that come when we go into that space. All right? You've all worked so very, very hard to make the progress that you've made. So enjoy your moment of a joy eat in the exception and then get back on track. Additionally, the beauty of using the worksheet and of honoring your joy eat and your exception in the way that you plan is it keeps you eating from a clean space. You're going to eliminate all that mental drama that can come around when we are indulging just a little bit. Know that you don't need to go there with the drama. This was planned. You're going to honor it. It's a safe way for you to have a treat. All right. The thing that we really want to avoid is having a huge setback. So be thoughtful and purposeful, and then come right back into your plan and know that that's going to serve you best when we honor the plans that we make. Okay, friends, the new tool that I want to introduce for our weight loss management is intermittent fasting. Many of you are familiar with intermittent fasting, and some of you are already utilizing intermittent fasting. This is because you've had previous experience with this weight loss tool. Now, I'm going to speak to intermittent fasting, and then I'm going to come back in and entertain the questions that you see on the screen. Now, just as we make it a purposeful exercise to have eating windows wherein we come into our planned meals and we're eating within a specified window of time, likewise, we have purposeful fasting windows as well. And this is known as the intermittent fast. Naturally, we all experience fasting every single day. We do this when we go to sleep. You've probably already realized this. But when we pause for a moment and acknowledge that and recognize that we all practice fasting, then it gives us a level of comfort and familiarity, okay? With the intermittent fast, what you are doing is you're purposefully choosing to abstain from any other food. You get to decide when you want these fasting windows to occur. And there's lots of reasons why people choose to do intermittent fasting. The number one reason, of course, is weight loss. Because when we choose to come into an intermittent fast, what it does is it allows our hormone levels to regulate. It allows our insulin level to drop. And so rather than our digestive systems working really hard to process food and always feeling like it has to be at work, we can allow our bodies to tap into our fat reserves and use our fat as fuel. And this is called being fat adapted. Okay? So the intermittent fasting, first and foremost, is most often used for weight loss reduction. Likewise, though, people who intermittent fast, they tend to experience an increase in energy, an increase in alertness with their thinking, and better sleep. It also reduces feelings of bloated, the bloating and the sluggishness that can occur when we're constantly bringing food into our system and we're like overworking our digestive system. There's lots of reading available out there on the intermittent fast. I would encourage you to do some reading on that and make sure that you feel really good about this in moving forward. I've provided a reading that you can take advantage of as well that partners with our material this week and speaks to the intermittent fast. I'm going to have you know that when I dropped flour and sugar and I got very comfortable in that space and felt like I was accomplishing success in having eliminated the sugar and the flour, and then I brought on the intermittent fast and partnered them together, it was magic. This really worked so well to support me in my weight loss progress. And you have to work into the intermittent fast. I'm going to speak to that in a moment. But know that once you're fully on board in that space of knowing how to fast and honoring your fast, it's very, very empowering. And it really works so well to let your body optimize in your body's performance, allow your hormones to optimize in supporting you in a beautiful way. And I actually feel much better when I'm practicing my intermittent fast with my eating windows. So, this being said, the first question I want to ask you is, are you ready? I know we just introduced the idea of no sugar, no flour last week, and this is a big shift. If you are still struggling in this space of stepping away from sugar and flour, then it might not be quite the right time for you to bring on the intermittent fast. And I would ask you to wait a week. I would ask you to purposefully wait a week. I want you to have lots of success in having no sugar and flour in your system, and knowing that you can do that successfully, and that you're not fighting that craving still, and you're not fighting that drama, and you're not fighting those urges. It's okay to wait a week or even two to bring on the intermittent fast. Many people choose to stagger these two practices because in bringing them on together all at the same time, that can be a recipe for disaster. We don't want to put you into a space where you feel like you're going to fail. We want to be incorporating these steps slowly but surely so that you are experiencing success. So you get to decide if you feel like you might be ready to bring this on. And if you're not, it's totally okay. I'm going to meet you exactly where you are, and we're going to support you in that place of progress that works for your body and your mindset. Now, that answers the second question that's here on our slide. Are you struggling with sugar and flour? If you are still struggling with sugar and flour, one way that you can push through this and have greater success in eliminating these products in your system is, of course, to increase your water, and also to make sure that you're getting really good fats into your system. Okay, the beautiful thing about high quality fats, such as avocados, nuts, cheese, olive oils, olives, cream cheese, a Greek yogurt, a very healthy Greek yogurt. The beautiful thing about bringing in these good fats is that it makes you feel satiated for a very, very long time. I always pause when I say that word. It's not a real common word in my vocabulary. I love it, and I love the meaning behind it because it's so deep and so rich. But what that means is that you're feeling abundantly satisfied, and that you're feeling perfectly content with where your body is in your hunger levels, okay? So those good fats are going to support you in feeling abundantly full. And they're also going to help eliminate those cravings and those urges that have been there for sugar and flour, because your body signals to your brain and your brain signals back to your body that you're satisfied. Trust me, it works. If you don't have enough good fats in your refrigerator to draw from, I encourage you to make it a point to bring them on board and lean on them, okay? In moving forward with this intermittent fasting window, as I said, you get to decide what your hours are. In the material provided with our week 4 reading, I have given you some examples of what your eating windows can look like and what your fasting windows can look like. These are just suggestions. I need you to be very aware of what works for you, and I'm inviting you to fine-tune them to what works with your body, your personal schedule, and your family demands, okay? So be very thoughtful to this. I'm going to give you an example of how I practice my eating windows and how I practice my fasting windows, and I'm going to tell you the why behind it. This is simply one option. Now, when I am practicing both my eating and my intermittent fasting windows, I like to have a nice, full, rich breakfast by 8:30 in the morning. I get up at 5:15 every day and I go walking at 5:30. I put in 3 miles with a friend, and by the time I'm home and I've scooted the children out the door, I'm hungry and I need some nutrition. I meet myself with a beautiful plate of bacon, a cooked egg, an avocado, sauteed spinach, a wedge of cheese, and then sometimes like a little cutie orange or maybe some sliced grapefruit. It's a very full breakfast. Those are all high quality foods that are going to fuel me in a rich, abundant way. And I consume all of that. It's a lot of food. And it's 3 or 4 strips of bacon because I really like my bacon, okay? So I bring on high quality foods and a good amount of them for my breakfast meal. And then I purposefully wait till about 12 or 12:30 and take in my lunch, and I finish by 2 to 2:30. The reason I do allow myself that window and a little bit more of a broader window with my lunch is because I like to meet friends for lunch. Oftentimes I'll meet friends, and that's how I socialize for my day. That's how I connect with family. That's how I take care of some of my appointments, is by having a lunch meal with other people. So I do give myself the grace of having a little bit more of a wider window on my lunch because I'm also working to accommodate others. but I'm done by 2:30. I'm going to promise you that. When I have my lunch, once again, I'm eating an abundant plate of food. I order the dinner portion when I eat out. I have a full Cobb salad with extra chicken. Or I might order a salmon dish with a rice on the side and some steamed vegetables. When I eat my lunch, I'm bringing, once again, lots of high quality foods on board, and I'm having the amount of food that I need to sustain myself and give myself the nutritional content that I need to support myself through the rest of the day. Fasting is not about starvation, and I do not want you to get that wrong. What we want to be doing, though, is having those 2 meals at a purposeful time and with purposeful foods so that they'll sustain us as we move into the purposeful fast, okay? By 2:30, I'm done. And then I enjoy water. I enjoy sugar-free gum, and I might put a little lemon in my water throughout the rest of that afternoon as I move into my intermittent fast. And I come around the clock from 2:30 p.m. all the way to 7:30 a.m. the next day. That is one way to handle the eating and the fasting windows. Now, I'm a little bit unique in this. Most of my friends who practice intermittent fasting do it in a different fashion. This is another option for you to consider, and it works just as well. There isn't a right or wrong to this, and you need to find what works for you. Most of my friends who practice intermittent fasting get up in the morning and they skip their breakfast. They purposefully come into an early lunch, and that is when they break their fast, and that is the first meal of their day. Now, they'll have their own start time with their eating window. It might be 11, it might be 11:30. You need to find what's right for you. They'll come into a beautiful, big, full, rich lunch, and that's the first meal of their day. Then after they've had their lunch, they won't snack, cheat, lick, or snitch between lunch to dinner. At dinner time, they're preparing a meal for their family, and once again, they're planning high-quality foods that fuel them and help to sustain them in a nutritional way. Maybe it's some grilled chicken with grilled vegetables. Maybe it's a rice on the side or a big green salad and some cheese, some avocados, and they have this beautiful, abundant dinner. They sit down and they eat with their family, and they enjoy this meal. They enjoy connecting, and when they're done, they're done. After dinner, they don't have anything following the end of their eating window. So usually about 6:30 is when they wrap up. 7 o'clock is when they wrap up their eating window. And then they fast through the night and into the next morning, back to that 11 a.m. mark, okay? Now for me, the reason I like to do the first option is twofold. First off, my afternoon is busy enough with the to-dos and the running of the errands and the helping with the homework and the household chores that I find I don't get distracted and I don't get tempted by food. And the second reason, again, I already spoke to. Because I start my day at 5:30 and I put in 3 miles voluntarily, I'm hungry. I've already had some exercise on board with my schedule, and my body is seeking nourishment. Now, just as a little side note, I still sit and eat with my family. Let me correct that. I don't eat. I actually take in a glass of water. I sit with my family while they eat. And initially, this kind of threw my kids for a loop, and they were a little bit unsure about how to feel about this. And they were very worried for me because I was adopting this new practice last year. I had to remind them that I had received all the nutrition that I needed and that I was eating, and I was eating well. In fact, this will make you laugh just a little bit. I even took pictures of my breakfast plate and my lunch plate in order to assure my son that I was truly eating and getting a good amount of food in my day. So when the evening does come, I make dinner for my family, and then I sit and visit. I have my glass of water. I hear about their activities. I'm there engaging and participating. I'm just not having a plate of food. So this is a little bit unusual, and it's not the standard way that people practice eating windows and fasting windows. But for me, it worked so, so well. And I really love adhering to this schedule. As you're moving forward and thinking about coming into the fasting practice, I want to let you know that it takes a little bit of practice, and it can take some easing into so that you can do it successfully. When you decide to bring intermittent fasting on board, it is okay to have a small snack to help satisfy you as you're transitioning into that full commitment of fasting. Your body's going to freak out just a little bit because you're setting it up for a new way of operating. You're introducing a new behavior pattern and a new eating pattern. So when you feel a little bit of discomfort and you're sure that you're going to die, if you were to have half an avocado, if you were to have a wedge of cheese or a handful of nuts, those good fats are not going to upset your insulin levels. I promise, okay? Know that you can have a small something to help you mentally handle this transition that you're working into. After you have a small something, a small snack of a good high quality fat for 3, 4, 5 days in a row, as you're bringing the fasting practice on board, eventually you're going to get to the point where your body's going to be like, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay to transition into this space and that I can honor fasting at 100% as I want to. And you will be able to make the leap, and you will have bridged the gap, and you will have come into a full intermittent fast. So be generous with yourself and be compassionate with yourself, and understand that if you're stair-stepping your way into that practice by having a little something to help satisfy you, it's okay. This is a new practice. It's a highly effective practice. And I'm really excited for those of you who are not familiar with the tool to see the results that it can bring about. And it will actually set your weight loss on fire. I promise. That's the really beautiful thing about intermittent fasting. Please reach out to me if you have questions or comments here. Again, when we come together for our one-on-one appointments, I'm going to ask you how you're feeling about the intermittent fast, if you're ready to bring it on board, and then we can coach on it at a more personal level when we have our private appointments. Now, I want to reassure you that your small and consistent changes matter. You will start to see and experience the cumulative effect. And so many of you are already having success with your choices. And I'm so pleased for you. This is a picture of me with my siblings. And you know what? When I was younger, I truly thought I was adopted because all of my siblings have brown hair and brown eyes. I was the only blondie to come into the family, and I was the only one to have my father's green eyes passed down to me. So as you can see, I'm sitting with my siblings, and this was about 2 years ago. My sister Stephanie that I referenced, she's the gal here in the front with the green shirt and the glasses. And believe it or not, she's 52 years old now. So in this picture, she was 49, approaching 50. She's always had a beautiful, youthful look about her. But as you can see, I'm sitting on my right-hand side as I'm looking at this screen in the blue shirt. And you know what? When I saw this picture surface on Facebook again, and my sister took the opportunity to post it in honor of National Siblings Day just a few days ago, wow, I was really taken back to a space and a time in my life when things were not working for me at all. And it was such a good reminder of the contrast that I have created because of small, consistent changes, okay? You will achieve results, I promise. As you practice these tools, as you bring your issues to the table that you want to coach on, and as you start to let your mind and your thoughts empower you in a beautiful, supportive way through that purposeful thought download, through positive self-dialogue, through reassuring yourself that you're capable and then seeing the results of your small steps, you will also achieve the results. I absolutely promise you. And it's going to feel so good. Okay, friends, once again, I want to invite you to please write yourself a note if you need to. Put it on a Post-it note. If you have a really spectacular aha moment that you can share with me, that you would allow me to share with my email readers and through my blog, this would be such a great gift to me as a coach and where I'm at in my business development. Think about what you've accomplished so far in 4 weeks. I know you've made steps forwards because we've celebrated these together as we've come in our one-on-one appointments. I know that you're embracing new practices and that you're experiencing new learnings. And so if you feel comfortable in sharing these moments with me, know that they will be greatly appreciated. Okay, once again, I want to recognize and congratulate you on all of the step forward that you have been taking. You guys are really demonstrating massive amounts of commitment. You are demonstrating massive amounts of excitement and enthusiasm. And you're also demonstrating and showing lots of progress and change in a beautiful way and in the right direction. I'm so proud of your accomplishments. We've had some of our coaching friends who are at the 8 and 9 pound mark with their weight loss already. Now, if this is not you, I want to promise you the results are just around the corner. Hang tight, trust in yourself, let these tools support you. We all respond differently to the work that we're doing. And that's purposeful, of course, because we're all made differently and our bodies respond differently to the things that we're testing and trying. You will come into that space where the rubber hits the road and you start to really make that progress. Believe in yourself. Hold tight. Honor that compelling reason. Honor your commitment and know that I believe in you as well. Have a beautiful week. I'm excited to see you on Monday the 29th. And if you haven't set your private one-on-one coaching appointment yet for that week, please jump onto my calendar and do so. Thank you again for joining me in our weight loss journey. I'm so pleased and so honored to be working with every single one of you. Take care.